Hello, Ficsit employees. Let's finish this one up. We are at 36 hours, and we need 280 pressure cubes, not pressure cubes, nuclear pasta, and about 60 ballistic rockets, or whatever you call it. I'm just gonna speed this video up here, when we get to it. All right, that's got 50. Let's just make sure everything is producing. That's got 50. Okay, cool. Let's see what our power is doing, just to make sure before we go venture out and kind of look at our setup again. Just make sure our power is stable and everything. So, what do you guys think about a base like this? I think it looks really cool. I like it. I might do more stuff like this. I'm used to doing more of a, I guess you call it like a bus design, right? Like in my last video. But I kind of like all this verticality. Now, I mean, there's definitely ways you could make it look prettier, that's for sure. I know some people like absolutely hate things that look like this, and I can totally understand why. I don't mind it. Alright, where are those ballistic rocket thingies? I guess that's one of the problems. Oh yeah. Oh, it's like once I start playing, I remember where stuff is, but I've taken a little bit of a break. Okay, we got 18 of these. This is good. Alright. We're getting low on these. Nah, we're good. Well, I got these RC controllers on here, and I don't really see any reason I would need them for much else. So I might as well go drop them in the pressure cube thingy. Alright, so our power's been going for a while. Let's see where we're at. Oh yeah, that's not the... 4. You know, we can't really futz around too much, because we're pretty close to breaking. Alright, so maybe while we do this, we'll just kind of take a look at the tour of sort of where we started and how we got here. Yeah, that'll be fun. Alright, so what I want to do is kind of try to recreate how we built all this stuff. Don't die. And what steps we took to get this far in 37 hours. Alright, so let's go back to where it all began. We'll jump over here. Yeah, I think maybe an idea is to kind of talk about some of the timings and milestones that I look to hit. So as you can see, our base doesn't really go much beyond this, right? This is basically the whole thing. So here's where we started. We basically started with these 3 normal iron nodes here, which are like doing nothing now. And then we started with this normal copper node over here. what this is doing. And then, so that's kind of where we started. Next thing we did, so that was our first like hour, right, setting up. And then pretty early, we went over to this little foresty area here, and we set up one quartz machine, and that's what we used for this entire run. So let's talk about that a little bit. So this is it. This is still the one, this is the only place we're mining quartz, 60 a minute. That's it. And here we've got boxes and boxes full of silicon. Here we have no crystals. And we started here and we never upgraded from tier 1 belts. And that's literally it for the entire game. That's our only quartz deposit. And I know it seems like that's crazy, but if we look at our map, here's 2 unused ones. And we never really went outside of this area except for like bauxite over here. So that's it. Oh, here's some more quartz over here. Didn't use that. I will say that one thing I would have liked to have been a little faster is quartz crystals. There was one point where probably about 25 hours in or so that I felt like we could use more crystal oscillators. I think though if you're doing a run like this and you just get on the crystal oscillators pretty early, you probably only need to make about, I don't know, 1,500 or so. I mean, it might even be way less than that. I really don't know. But whenever we were able to make the crystal oscillators, which is this machine right here, and it's only running at 52% because there's not enough quartz coming in. So what were we making? Essentially 2.5 a minute at 53%. So basically like 1.25 per minute. And those crystal oscillators, well, at this point, they're all kind of running over there. But probably could have used more of those. The main reason we could have used more is because let's look up crystal oscillators. Okay, so let's see what they do. They are used in radio control units and superposition oscillators. So we had to probably take about 500 from radio controls, and I would say in this run through I never felt backed up on anything besides maybe radio control units. Okay, so anyways, on our first couple hours we went down there to get quartz, and that was mainly so we could get Blade Runners. Blade Runners is such a huge upgrade. It's really one of the first things you should do. There's just I can't think of a single reason why you would do it later. It not only makes everything more efficient, but it just makes the game more fun for me. All right, so then around hour 3 or so, we went and got our first coal. So let's go take a look at that. That's just this little line over here. I think the only thing it's really doing is getting coal power. And no, never mind. That's Caterium over there. Yeah, we did some Caterium. Maybe that was around 3 hours. I don't remember. But we did our first coal power setup over here. And I think we first built out 8 generators, then maybe 16, and got it up to 24. I think coal power is generally undervalued now that biomass burners came out. In other words, I think a mistake people might make in the early game is say, oh, I don't need as much coal because we have biomass burners now. I am here to tell you that starting yourself out with a good, let's see how much coal power this is. This is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 24. And these are generating, let's see, so 24. And they're generating 75 each. So 1,800 power, or 1,800 megawatts of power is actually quite a bit in the early game. But it's not a crazy amount once you get to oil, because you're going to need power to run those refineries. And one thing I like to do is I really like to rush to oil quickly. Except I don't use fuel when I first get there. I'm only getting to oil to start plastic and rubber production, and then get to turbo fuel as soon as possible. So, you know, to each their own. That's how I like to do it. And I think getting a nice, stable supply of coal really helps with that goal. One thing we did differently this run is that... Oop, what did we get? Did I really care? This seems really good. Dark matter residue. How are we making these normally? A diamond and dark matter. Oh, yeah. I guess it takes the coal out, so ultimately this would be a pretty good one. Anyways, what we did, like, we'll look at the, you know, this is the first thing we opened, right? Blade Runner. Then we went to Caterium to get to Power Pole MK2. That's really a quality of life thing for me. I find that very important. And then once we got to oil, we went straight into compacted coal and into turbo fuel. Like, I don't even think we made any packaged fuel. We might have made just a very little bit. So yeah, I like that coal buffer. And then what we did with the coal, this is a really nice area for steel production. In the early game, I would say, oh, look, a blue slug. Because I was too lazy to pick that up. You know, here's our, this is the only steel we've produced all game as well. Actually, that might not be true. I think we used iron pipes over there. This is it. You don't really need much more than this. You know, if you're building huge rail networks and shit, yeah, you need a ton, right? But again, what do we got working here? This is probably around hour 4, right? We piped in, let's see, 2 iron ores for 240, and then I think down here is 1 normal coal node for 240 as well. Again, nothing too fancy. It's funny, it's still moving here. I don't even know why. And I would say the most important part of this is, you know, getting to tier 3 belts really quick, right? Tier 3 belts are, I mean, never use tier 2 belts. Let's just never use them, except for maybe around hour 3 or 4. Like if you have, like, what belt is this? Let's see. This is MK3. Okay, so I upgraded these. But I think I did use 2 MK2 belts to bring the 120 in, and then used MK3 from here. Again, it's really like edge case. You could do fine without it. All right, so around hour 4 or 5, we did something different, and we went for the SAM ore to, if you remember, we went for the SAM ore over here. Well, it's technically down, I don't know where it's coming out of. That's where it's going. Yeah, there's that cave down here where we brought the lift up. Yeah, here it goes. So we came down here to do our SAM early so we could start work on alien tech. So we could start work on production amplification, right? And we did this before we could build circuit boards. So that meant if you want to go that route, you need to know where there's some circuit boards laying around at crash sites. I think that was a really good decision to go for it earlier, because what it allowed us to do is when you're in... Oh my god, I have no rotors. How funny. Alright, give me some rotors. It's weird that I have no rotors, because this I must just not have a dimensional depot, because this thing has been idle forever. This is motors, and so there's got to be a ton of rotors just sitting around here. So let me just grab some so I have some. Like, what we got in here? We got... Oh, I know why. Because I diverted all of this wire to do the SAM fluctuators. That's why. So I don't have anything making rotors right now. We're making these instead. How many of these do we got? Yeah. So now I can take that and go back in here so we get some rotors going. Again, not that I really care. I'm not going to be playing this game after this save. Oh, I guess we did do some more steel over here. I don't really remember what we were doing over here. Well, I know that this is our motor factory. That's all I really know. So, and we have an absolute metric ton of them. So this feels like this was about 5 hours in. So that meant time to go get oil. Oh, and one thing I mentioned, we got the double sloop thing so that we could do phase 3 elevator parts quicker. Now, is that quicker? I think so, because if you remember, for phase 3 elevator parts... Oh, this is why I wanted a rotor. Let me just find an assembler. That's why any assemblers? I just need one. I might even have some rotors here in a second. Oh, we'll just go over here and look at the recipe I'm talking about. So the recipe I'm talking about, of course, is versatile frames, right? So you come down here, versatile frameworks. You need 2,500 of these. And I thought, you know, it might be faster to sloop it up instead of making 2,500, make 1,500 instead. And I think that worked out pretty well. Or 1,250, you know what I mean. All right, let's go make sure. God dang it. By the way, sometimes if you see me do that, if you crouch and then jump, you go considerably farther. I assume most people would know that. Just from playing. So if you jump here, you know, you're going this speed. But if you crouch and jump, you're going this speed. And obviously if you do it on a belt, you go considerably faster. Alright. We got no slowdowns, right? Okay, cool. Let's see how many of these guys we got now. 90. Alright, let me, let's go get those ballistic rockets and then turn all this shit off so we can hopefully, squeeze some more power out of these nuclear dealies. Nuclear pasta thingies. God, my words are just, like, fucking gone. Where is it up here? Alright, you got enough for me? You do. 50, 64, exactly. Alright, off you go. Alright, let's turn... It's closing time. Close. Little Modest Mouse song. My favorite band. Alright, let's turn you off. You can stop sucking power up. And you, we can turn you off. Again, you know, you wouldn't do this on a normal playthrough. I'm just trying to, you know, get her done. So I think everything's off around here now. So that should definitely give us a little bit of power. Oh, you know what else I can turn off? I got a couple particle accelerators over here that don't need to be running either, since we done with all that. Or did I already turn those off? I did not. Turn that off. Here, just give me that. You can just get shut off. Alright, let's see what our power situation looks like now. not significantly better. Okay, so we're consuming 3,500 and we have 6K more to futz around with. I think that might get us one sloop. Maybe. Or maybe, you know what, actually I think it will do is I think it will allow us to, now that we have 7 summer sloops, I think it will allow us to actually build another particle accelerator. Invalid play. Oh, because of this. Wait, what? Oh, because of this. I see. Okay, you can make some nuclear pasta. Maybe. After this next cycle is done, I'll wait for this to go so we don't stop it in the middle. Oops. Oh, we got 9. That's fine. Alright, let's see if we can actually do something here. We had an awesome shop around here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Got any tickets? And copper powder is honestly a necessity to buy in a fast type run like this. Okay, so this is only at 1,500. So yeah, I think that's gonna speed us up a little bit. Now, why is this at 6,000? Oh, right, because the first cycle doesn't. Yeah, it's gonna be 6,000. So let's see. Do we have 6,000 to play with? Our max consumption is 31. No, our consumption here is 31K. Yeah, and our production is 40, so yeah, we should be fine. guess we could probably sloop these also. Shouldn't do too much. You know, one thing I never considered. Slooping copper powder, right? That's gotta be a good do. If you got some extra. Yeah, let's see. 50 per minute. It'll make 100 per minute. Okay. I mean, something. We're not really doing anything else with them right now. Alright, so how many we got here? 116. Now let's split these off as well. Pardon the mess. We're on the last legs here. I'm not going to worry too much about aesthetics. Something like this, maybe. I'll throw the rest in here. Okay. Let's take a look at our power. And then we're going to go look at some other things. Alright. So I think we're good. It looks like our max cycle is up to 35. Might even be able to throw a couple shards in these. Let's see what one... Nah. I'm worried about that. Yeah, it might be you go a little faster, but it's not going to go significantly faster, so not too worried about it. All right. So while we're waiting for the rest of these to get made, how many do we need? We have 120, so that's 840. So basically, we need another half hour, which is great. That's an hour-long video. All right, so what did we do next? We just figured out we did coal, everything like that. I'm sorry, steel and SAM ore. And then we came over here and made our first rubber and plastic production. And I believe that's going to still be right here. So I would say, you know, oil, turbo oil, plastic, rubber, at around the 7 to 9 hour mark. Maybe a little faster than that. And I would say turbo fuel at around the 7 or 8 hour mark. So that's what we're doing there. Okay, and then we got turbo fuel. We made some turbo fuel. We built that out. We got ourselves up to about. So here, I'm gonna kind of write this down. We took coal up to about 2,500 MW. Sat on that until turbo fuel. Took turbo fuel up to around 7 to 8 K megawatts. And then we built up CPU and HMFs. All right, so that's your next step after turbo fuel. So up here is where we built our little computer factory. And here it still sits, making computers. And one thing I really liked that I did in this run that I've struggled with in the past is it's gone now. But if we look around the, I'm gonna guess around the 9 or 10 hour mark, we started making these stupid things. And the subcomponent for this automated wiring is a pain in the ass to build. It's one of the most annoying components in the game. I don't really know why. It's just stators, which with the right alternate recipes, well, stators is steel pipes and quick wire, but you can make it. Well, yeah, that's stator. I'm trying to think. There's some other alternate recipe, but it's the 20 cables. That's a lot because you're gonna find yourself overstretched because you're also gonna need cables for the computers, and you need cables for just your general stuff back at base, and then you need 20 cables for each one of those things. And I think what I normally used to do was I'd make the required adaptive control units for, to turn phase 3. I think you need 100. But let's look at what else they're used in. These guys. And you need... I think we need, for phase 4, I feel like we need 500 of these. I really can't remember, so that's another 1,000. But then, for these, you're going to need another 250 to make the biochemical sculptors. And I'm speaking all with sloops in it, right? If you're not slooping it, you're going to need way, way more. So I just built about 2,000 of these things. And we pretty much hit the number right on the head. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but if we go over and look at where we built those assembly director systems, that's up here. We, eventually, this is more around hour probably 20 or so, we started making our supercomputers over here. Right? So, we started making our supercomputers over here. And we ended up with a pretty big surplus of those. Yeah. And those are used for other things. But if you notice, our assembly directors, our adaptive control units, which were in here, we basically used all of them. Okay, so like we hit the number right on the head. Oh, give me those. What are you doing here? So if we go down to our biomechanical sculptors, which is way down here. Let's see how many assembly director units we actually still have. There's probably a few, but it's certainly not too many. We made those down here. We got 50. So we overmade them by 145. Well, about 160 probably. So really not too far off, right? I don't like making those adaptive control units. It's 4 components. They're once again, let's look at that recipe and talk about why it's a difficult recipe. Difficult. I mean, nothing's difficult. You know what I'm saying. Some recipes are a little bit more of a pain in the ass than others. So let's look at what makes it a pain in the ass, and why you should maybe commit to making more than once you get the setup, more than you think you need. So okay. Adaptive control units. We need stators, cables. Okay, just consider how much copper is going into this thing. All right, we need 20 cable, and this wants 5 of these, by the way. So that's 100 cable. All right, circuit boards. What do we use? We need 5 circuit boards. So that's 10 copper sheets, which is 2 copper each, I think. Right. This doesn't use any copper. And then we need computers, which needs another 4 circuit boards. So for each one of these things, it's got 9 circuit boards in it, which is 18 sheets. It's got 100 cable in it, and it's got multiply all of this times 2. So you can see every one of these things has like 300 copper in it. So these are a bit of a pain in the ass to make. So when you establish them, keep it around for maybe longer than you need at the moment, because that is one part that you're going to keep on needing more and more of them. As opposed, for instance, to say magnetic, like here's a good one that you really don't need to worry too much about it if you're beating the game, okay? There are other things that you would use magnetic control rods for instance. In nuclear, you use that a lot. But if you're just wanting to make magnetic field generators, the only thing they're used for after that is the 256 that you need of this. Again, slooped up, you need essentially, what, like 60 of those? Really not that big of a deal. All right, let's see where we are here. Hopefully we're all still, yeah, we're all still making stuff. That's happy. $150. Oh yeah, let's go sloop this other one up. Look at that, we get 8 copper powder instead of 4 copper powder. It's twice as much. I don't know why this is working at 80%, 80%. I must have miscounted here, but it's a mystery for now. Oh, I see. I think something... Is my spelting blueprint wrong? It's possible. Who cares? We're done. I'm not gonna diagnose a simple, or like a, you know. We'll address that in the next game. All right, so we did all of phase 3. We got all that mumbo jumbo. So now we're into phase 4, right? And phase 4 is probably the hardest phase in the game. Phase 5 is obviously, it's taken me about 6 hours to complete. And really, that 6 hours is, you know, I have the parts already, so it's mostly the nuclear pasta. So what's the first thing you want to do in phase 4? All right, raise your hand if you know. The first thing you want to do in phase 4, well, you first want to start your aluminum right away, but you are looking for, no, we're not going to find it here. You are looking for, not sloppy alumina. No. Sloppy alumina is fine. What you're looking for is... Holy shit, I'm stupid. Let's just go over there and see what we're looking for. You're looking for the recipe that takes silica out of the equation. Oh, pure aluminum ingot. Okay. So aluminum, I mean, go to Reddit and just search for the last 5 years in Reddit, and probably about a quarter of the posts are about why is my aluminum setup not working, okay? And the reason is because aluminum is actually a little tricky. You have these weird ratios that you have to worry about. You have to pump water in, but you have to make sure not to flood the reactions. All right, so if you look, we're using 360 water per minute. I'm kind of jumping points here. Okay, so this produces silica. It produces 100 per minute. The normal recipe to make this is pure aluminum ingot. Yeah. So it's not a smelter. I think it's a maybe a foundry. Yeah, here we go. So you're gonna make more aluminum scrap than the silica that's being output, so you're gonna need to import another source of silica. When you get pure aluminum ingot, which just turns the scrap into aluminum ingots, then you can just sink the silica. And that makes it so much easier. This recipe, I would say, pure aluminum ingot is probably the most important alt recipe in the game. Just in terms of saving you time and not having to think about ratios and belt-in silica and it's backing up. If you look at my last video, I didn't find that recipe. And so I just did the normal silica, and I was having issues with backup on the silica constantly. I was a little embarrassed by it, actually, because the thing is, I hadn't used the regular silica recipe in so long that I just was bad at doing it. All right, so let's look at these water pipes. Some people call this a, I think they call it a VIP junction. So what it basically means is if you pump it up and then down into the pipe, okay, then this pipe will only get filled from this water when there's room for it. So this is putting out 360, and I believe we separated the pipes in this case. Yep, so let's see where it's going. It's going right here, and it's going into this machine, which is outputting 120. I'm sorry, this is the alumina solution. This is outputting 120 per minute, and it's going from here directly into this machine. Okay? So, but this needs 360 water per minute, so it needs to get extra water from somewhere else. Okay? But these are, if we were running them at full speed, which we are, and just pumping them in on the same vertical, what would happen is that eventually it would flood, and then the water exiting here would have no place to go. Now, there's a ton of ways that you can solve that. I mean, the easiest way to solve it, especially since you're going to have coal nearby anyways, the easiest way to solve it is just take the excess water, pump it in here, and burn coal. The problem with that is that coal generators are indiscriminate in how much water they take. They're just going to take as much as they can and as little as they can. So you can end up starving the system of water unless you carefully balance it. But what you can do instead is take the water from down below, pump it up, and then pump it in. And now if I, let me think here. If I flush this, I don't really care if my alumina starts right now. So let's flush the whole pipe, okay? That's gonna flush everything. We're gonna flush all the pipes, all right? Oh, we need to flush the full pipe network. All right. So now there's no water anywhere, okay? So this machine should stop, but it's getting water pumped in from over here. Okay, so we have a little bit of water coming in here. Now what you're gonna see is this pipe is going to flood. Okay, we're seeing it flooding here, flooding here, flooding here, okay? And it's flowing down, but when this pipe fills all the way, this is gonna start filling up and flooding. So let's watch this pipe fill all the way. In other words, we need it to stop doing the up and down. Like it needs to be totally stacked, right? Because right now we're getting excess water from over here. But when you see all of these bottom pipes completely filled with water, what you'll notice is that this will also fill with water. And it won't flow down into this pipe unless it's requesting water, okay? Basically take your junction up and then down onto it. And we have the same thing right here. Same exact setup. So these two water systems are not connected. These are independent systems. You could connect them. I just find it a little easier to troubleshoot when I have completely independent systems. Same with this alumina solution, right? This alumina solution goes out of this. This one goes this way, and these two never touch. And same with the excess water. Up and over and in, and then that one is into that one. These two pipes do not touch. As you can see, I built them right over each other. Again, you totally can put them together and do the same exact thing. The only important thing is to have the water that's being added to the system go up over the system and then down. So let's write that here. Water added to system, not to and from system, needs to go up and then down onto the pipe. Okay? Well, really, it needs to just go down onto the pipe. I guess it needs to go up because you're usually building above the level of water. If the lake was up here and we were pumping it down, it could just go down. It doesn't need to go up and then down, but usually you'll be building your aluminum right near a lake or something. So that's the main thing here. This junction. Straight down on top of it. And you should never have any aluminum issues from that point on. All right, so then I think after we did alumina, we started building more complicated parts like our RC control units. I never hooked these up. I should have. That was dumb. I should have put, you know, we had some slowdowns with these and could have been avoided. All right, I think we added on aluminum at a certain point because we needed more casings. We always need more casings than we think we're going to. I could have put another sloop on those copper powders over here. Then we did our, you know, I know a lot of people aren't fans of these, and I don't think we did a sushi belt until about hour 22-ish. But I wanted to get all of this stuff over here on this belt. Let's just watch what goes on this belt. We got AI limiters. We got high-speed connectors. We got casings. We got copper powder. We got RC controllers. We got heat sinks. We got a ton of shit on this belt. But the thing is, we're never going to have more than 750 things on this belt or whatever Tier 5 can hold. So I was fine with that. And then we just have everything running through the system. We did forget an overflow box for some reason. Well, the casings make sense, but these don't make sense to me. I don't know. There's no reason these should be in here. But somehow, you know, a copper powder didn't make the turn and it went by. You always need some sort of overflow box, and preferably that overflow box should be connected to a sink, because if this thing completely overflows and then something doesn't get in the right way, then everything's going to back up, right? Another way you can sort of solve that is with a box here. So in other words, the whole line won't stop. It'll fill up this box and you can troubleshoot it without like stopping your materials entirely. All right, so around hour 25, we started doing our tier 4 parts. We made our supercomputers. We made our first nuclear pastas. And yeah, we got another just a little smart splitter right there. And here's kind of what I'm talking about. Like if you don't have this sink here, well, this plastic's just gonna back all the way up, which it did at one point in this playthrough, right? It'll back all the way up, and then, gosh darn it. All right, we're gonna have to fall down. So we didn't have a sink over here, and again, this is a really simple smart splitter. It's just letting anything go through and any overflow just go into the sink. And so when we didn't have that sink, what happened was all this plastic backed up all the way, you know, all the way back here. And guess what? Couldn't get through our computers. So computers, that was the main reason that we had issues with RC controllers, because I backed up the computers so far that nothing was getting built for a while. Okay, and then around hour 30, we started, you know, somewhere along the way, we got rocket fuel, probably also around, I would guess, around hour 22 and 20. You need to get aluminum first to get, you need aluminum first so you can get constructors, right? Because you need empty fuel tanks. So once we got some aluminum, we built out our rocket fuel, which made everything easier. Okay, everything seems to be working and we don't have any shutdowns. That's great. Where are we at? 225. So we need 50 more of these. So you're gonna have to sit with me for another 10 minutes if you want to see their grand finale. There really isn't too much to it. Pressure cubes, good. Copper powder, good. Let's see what our power switch is. Yeah, we're getting close. We can't really do too much else. Not much else to do. Oh god, I almost sunk those. That would have been fucking tragic. Take it all. Take it all. Here, I'll take my biofuel. Big tickets here. The funny thing is, with the tickets, we're actually still getting quite a bit because we didn't really make too many tickets. Your tickets grow out exponentially in terms of how much more you need for to get the next coupon. And since we're probably on like our that would be cool if you could see how many coupons you actually bought. I don't think there's a way to. Oh shit, my wife's coming home on an early train, so I might not be able to finish this video. I mean, that's awesome, but I still need like, what, 15 minutes? Where are we at? We're at 52 minutes? I probably don't need that much. Since I did most of my, so like, you know, these cooling units, look at how much tickets they're getting us. You know, quite a bit for 225. Oh, actually, can you buy nuclear? Yeah, you can't buy. You can buy pressure cubes. Yeah, you can't buy. I guess you can't buy. Yeah, you can't buy space elevator parts, even if they're used in other stuff besides space elevator. So that's 237 is 722 plus 37 is 29 is 59. We need 41 more. Ho hum. What else? Always need more slugs than you think you do. One thing we like to do is when we double production, another good reason to double production early is because you can make those slugs with your summer sloop, and you only need one to do it, which is really, really nice. So for every slug you're getting twice as many shards, and I don't know how many shards we've used. I don't know if there's a way to check, but it's gotta be like 400 or 500, right? I mean, it's gotta be. All of our generators are slooped up. Yeah, here's the thing about generators too. This is the last thing I'll talk about. Generators take a lot of space. We all know that. They take a fair amount of materials for when they come into the game, right? Nothing major. I think the motors and the encased beams are the most taxing. But here, you know, they take a bit. So here's one thing, you know, ooh, we're getting really close. We could have a break. No, just in the Nicky. So this is putting out 625 megawatts, right? If we take this down, it puts out 250 megawatts, okay? That's for every generator, regardless of the kind of fuel. The only difference is turbo fuel burns at 18.75 per minute, okay? Rocket fuel, so if you make 200, let's just say 200, okay? So you could do 200 divided by 18.75. Oops, wrong thing. 200 divided by 18.75. 10 2/3 generators, right? That's if you're making 200 turbo fuel. Let's instead make 200 rocket fuel. And fully slooped up here, this burns 10 per minute instead of 18. So that same 200 fuel divided by 10 point, I don't remember what it was, gives you 19 generators instead. That's the difference. The type of fuel you're burning doesn't matter. Any slooped up generator is going to make the same 625 megawatts. But if you're using fuel, 200 fuel will turn into like maybe 3 generators. If you're using turbo fuel, 200 fuel will turn into 10 generators. If you're using rocket fuel, it'll turn into 19. So that's how that works. Don't need much to say about nitrogen. For a playthrough like this, one node slooped up is going to do you fine. Both of these pipes have 600 nitrogen going through them. And a good, well, most of it's going to rocket fuel over there, and most of it went to cooling systems down here. All right, are we done yet? $257. $259. How lazy is this? Plus 59. We need 19 more. I've never used these. I've never played with anybody else. Don't worry, that's not as sad as that sounded. I don't. In most games I play, I'm a solo queuer for like Marvel Rivals. I don't. I do play some games with my son, but this isn't his jam. I wish it would be. He'd be really good at it. That's a really sarcastic clap. So what else is there to say? Satisfactory in, let's see where we are. $37 hours. If I recall, I finished my last playthrough in 38 hours. I think this is a little faster. It felt faster. It felt pretty good. Felt like there was a little more belt work than normal. Obviously, we didn't use a single train or drone. Completely overrated tech. I'm just kidding. They're very good at what they do. But if you're doing a playthrough like this, you really not only do you not need them, you probably don't want to use them. I mean, what's a train gonna do here? Everything's built right here, except for over here, and then everything that we need is coming on that one sushi belt that's taking way less than 750 items per minute. Obviously, if you make huge mega factories that go all over the map, I mean, shit, we did, like, this whole thing is the, like, we didn't even, okay, this is the desert, right? That's gonna expand, like, over here to up here. This is the oil coast to the rocky desert, like, oh, I guess that would be here. I mean, we utilized not even a quarter of the map, and even that, most of it is just for getting shards and stuff. We really didn't use too much of the map. All right, we need 4 more, then we'll go back and do our turn-in. I don't think I'm gonna, I'm just gonna do the turn-in. I'm not gonna do the end credits and stuff. Mostly because I don't have time right now. I have to go. One more, just one more, one more. Here, for good luck. Like playing Tetris. Thank you. All right, off we go. Bye, everybody. I mean, buy all my machines. We're gonna go do the turn-in now. Now, some of you might say, Space Cat, there are people who beat this game in 10 hours. You are absolutely right, and they are fucking nuts. I don't understand what they're doing half the... First off, I've never watched a 10-hour speedrun. And they don't usually break them up in parts because it's so short. And when I watch it, it's like... Well, it doesn't look like this. Now, I'm not saying this is the most beautiful factory anyone's ever made, but what I am saying is that you can understand what's going on here, except for these guys. You know, this is where the steel is. Here's this, and here are these machines, and here's that, and there's the space elevator. They are like literally stacking stuff on top of each other. You know, it's just a crazy... Wait, can I save it here?
Unsurprisingly, here's another presentation, but don't worry, I have improved it. This last delivery will be the most important action you have ever taken. Perhaps you want to take a moment to contemplate the gravity of your achievements. Alright, that's enough. This is the end of the Save the Day program. All you need to do is wait for the automated Phase 5 construction to complete. Simply throw the lever and further instructions will be supplied when relevant.
Alright, we're going to save it right here, so I can always feel like I can flip that lever. And I am going to call it 37 minutes, 37 hours and 9 minutes. 37, 9 minutes. I think the last one was like 38 and 11 minutes. But I also did the space elevator, which takes some time. So, you know, I guess my point being is this is not a speed run. This is how, here's how I would put this. This is how I would have liked my first factory in this game to have been. right? It was not. In fact, you know, that would be a fun thing. Let's go through some old saves and look at just how stupid everything looks. This is how it's not the prettiest factory, it's not the most efficient factory, but it's legible. Okay? Legible meaning I know where everything is being made, I know where everything is going. It makes sense to me. The ratios are pretty, adhered to. And my first factories would be like, okay, I've got 7 million cable, but I have no wire. Okay, I've now got 7 million wire, but I have no iron rods. Okay, now I've fixed the iron rods and I'm making, versatile frameworks, but now I have no automated wiring. There was always something that I was completely out of, and I'd have to stop and figure out how to get it from there to here, and all the things you do when you're new at this game, which is a really fun part of this game. Honestly, it's probably the most. I don't know if it's the most fun I ever had. I think I have more fun doing these playthroughs actually, because I would get frustrated like you would. But everything. You're always putting out fires. Nothing was just working on its own. This factory is just going to work on its own. Minus a few decisions I made to not belt some stuff, right? Mostly just because I was lazy, I guess. But for the most part, everything's belted up. We're not having to go, oh shit, we don't have any quick wire. And, we need quick wire over here. So we're going to go jump in this, box and tote 7,000 quick wire across the map. We're not doing stuff like that, right? This quick wire is going exactly where it needs to be, and I'll tell you exactly where it's going. It's going into high-speed connectors. Okay, there's some going over here too, but yeah. I know what the main quick wire is for here. It's for these freaking high-speed connectors that take so much, right? Yeah. So, that's more what this run is about. And if it's really more of like, oh shit, I'm stuck. What do I do at the next point? Well, here's a idea. And I would say the main thing, if I wanted anybody to get something from this video, I really don't want anybody to get anything from the video, except for just maybe some ideas. The main thing is build machines, not factories. Because once you get into the trek of saying, I need to make 100x per minute, well, you're going to be working on that for days. And it probably, there's other things you can be doing, and that can get really frustrating when you've been trying to build. I can build an assembler now, good. You're like just adamant, I need 100 per minute. You don't ever need 100 modular frames per minute, ever, never. It just never. Not to beat the game. You can do it. You don't ever need to climb Mount Everest either. You can do it. Like, you can make 100, heavy modular frames per minute, and you could also go climb Mount Everest, but you don't need to, unless that's your goal. So if you're just trying to turn this thing and get through the game and say, hey, I did it, or if you're one of those kind of people that says, I don't really feel like I can play the game until, now I've finished the space elevator parts. Now I can start decorating and making things nice. Just so you know, I'm the opposite of that player. I get completely bored when there's not like a goal to do. You never need to do that, or you can take 500 hours to turn phase 2 and, just build awesome buildings, or, make your train network go all around the world. We're all individuals. We all play for different reasons. But there is one thing you can do to not get stuck, and that is simply build machines, not factories. Don't get bogged down. Just build more machines. Also worry about logistics. Secondly, just build the machines. And then if you need to truck them over by hand, you do it. It's not the end of the world. But while you're worrying about logistics, You could just be building more stuff and going a little bit faster. So remember, past you provides future you with interesting problems. Future you is awesome. Past you sucks. And what I mean by that is, you know, how many times do you hear me say like, I'll worry about that in a few hours. I'll deal with that later. That's what I mean by past you sucks, right? And I didn't come up with that. That's Kibitz, I think, where I first heard it. Where he's always like, that's a problem for future Kibitz. But he's right. It is a problem for future Kibitz. Let past Kibitz or past Space Cat do whatever the fuck he wants. And future Space Cat will worry about it, okay? And there are times where you're going to be like, oh my god, my past self was such an asshole. Like, what have I done? I've completely screwed this. But yeah, just keep building stuff, and future you will take care of the messy parts. It's probably not the best or worst way to live your life. All right, I'm going to save it here. And I am going to say thank you all so much who have stuck with me through this series and my last series. After this, I think I'm going to do some small builds. Aluminum factory setup, for instance, with those VIP junctions. Or maybe I won't. I have no idea. I don't know. But at any rate, I appreciate the journey we've gone on together. And I'll catch you guys in whatever the next project is. Remember, stay efficient and have fun. Peace.